9851. So for me, Madam Chair, the first allegation is not a sufficient allegation of fact, but mere conclusions lacking in specificity. So insufficient po para sa akin yung first ground.
Madam
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thank you, Honorable De Lima. Now we recognize the Honorable Alvarez.
Given the lengthy discussions, listening to legal luminaries
On the first offense.
of the first event of the complaint, even given that the president was there during the planning of the execution to serve the warrant, even if he committed error in judgment, is not an impeachable offense. Therefore, given that the first complaint on the Jesus complaint has no substance, Madam Chair, I move to dismiss the first complaint.
We are not finished with our discussion of the offenses and as to whether they constitute an impeachable ground.
Therefore, I modify my motion.
Okay, guys, nag-resume ngayon as we told you yesterday. 40 congressmen voted to say that may sufficient inform, may basis para ituloy yung impeachment complaint laban kay President Bongbong Marcos. Ngayon, they have met again, or they're meeting again as we are speaking, and they are debating on sufficiency of substance, sustansya. Kahapon forma. Ngayon, yung mga kung tama ba, ganon. Pero ngayon, yung sustansya na yung basis to say na whether meron bang sufficiente ba yung kanila grounds for violation of the Constitution, culpable violation of the Constitution, and betrayal of public trust. In this case, ang grounds, according to the first complaint as filed by itong si Attorney De Jesus and endorsed by a contractor na si Pusong Pilipino Rep Jet Nisay, ginamit nila isang ground yung pang-kidnap daw. Di umano ni President Bongbong Marcos kay former President Duterte. So pakinggan natin yung argumento ni ng dati kong kliyente na si Cagayan de Oro Congressman Rufus Rodriguez.
The arrest is not based on the order of the president or anybody in this country, but it is pursuant to an implementation which we are duty bound to therefore cause the arrest of the former president because the ICC has issued a warrant of arrest. Would you agree with that?
Do you?
Yan
Madam
si
Chair,
Congressman
dapat po
Nisay.
yung position natin, dumaan sa judicial system muna natin.
But Rule
Si Jet
Rule
Nisay.
59 of the Rome Statute of the International Court of Justice precisely provides for the arrest. Now, you are saying, that's a good point because you said that it should also go to the court. That is also provided in the Rome Statute. And that's why there's also an issue on the rendition because you stated here surrender. And of course, that's another issue. The first issue is the arrest. And clearly, the arrest is legal because it is upon our compliance of international law. Now, so the rendition, there are many views. And would you therefore agree that this particular issue is now pending in the Supreme Court, Congressman Nisay, because in the cases of, first, in the matter of, for the record, Madam Chair, in the matter of the petition for habeas corpus of Rodrigo Roa Duterte, petitioner Sebastian Z. Duterte against the Honorable Lucas Bersamin. It is GR number, to put on record, the number, Madam Chair, is 278-73. And the other cases brought about by Veronica Duterte and also by Paulo Duterte, which in seriatim was also filed, then you agree that there is a pending case, and the main prayer of this particular cases, of these cases, are the following. It is it is stated here in the prayer. It is questioning the arrest and the surrender of the president to the International Court of Justice. Are you aware of that? International Criminal Court.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So therefore, with your answers, the Honorable Jet Nisay, then there is no kidnapping, because kidnapping means that there is no power of any person to be able to get
Tama.
into detention a person.
Tama.
And therefore, in this case, there's a warrant of arrest, and it was executed by our country, which is a signatory to the Rome Statute. And as for the issue of rendition, surrender, it is already the Supreme Court, and according to our rules of judice, we cannot discuss here cases the Supreme Court. Whatever we say here, once the Supreme Court comes out with a decision on these cases, on the validity of the arrest, of the bringing of the president, the rendition to the ICC, is a matter already in the Supreme Court. You agree with that, Mr. Jet Nisay? These are facts. We are stating here that there is kidnapping, there is illegal surrender, but the facts are that precisely Interpol, arrest. Rendition, the issue is in the Supreme Court. Would you agree with that?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Pero
Madam Chair.
ganun din pa yun.
I wish to remind the House members, the committee members, that if you can express your point by way of manifestation instead of question,
Nag-agree siya.
we will encourage that.
Nawalan
That is
ko,
in the
nag-agree
interest
si
of time,
Nisay.
because
Nawala
we have
namang
4 other
kidnapping
offenses
kasi
to deliberate
order
upon.
naman yun ng
Now we
ICC
will move to
and
the
executed by
recognition
the
of Honorable Garbin.
by the Interpol. Tingnan nyo.
Let us all be reminded that this is
palpak
just
talaga itong
preliminary.
si
The
Congressman Nisay.
endorser will be very much ready to answer all the exhaustive questions when we reach that hearing proper of our proceedings. So kindly limit our question, and if you can translate it into manifestation, that would save a lot of time. Thank you.
Madam Chair, on the first allegation, culpable violation of the Constitution, the endorser alleged that
Si Congressman
or averts
Garbin.
that he based
Alfredo
his
Garbin.
allegations grounded primarily on media reports and public documentary. Culpable violation of the Constitution in the records of the deliberation of the Constitutional Commission defined as willful and intentional violation of the Constitution. Commissioner Maambong, I'm referring to the records of the Constitutional Commission, stated that culpable violation of the Constitution means willful and intentional violation of the Constitution, and not violation committed unintentionally or involuntarily or in good faith or through an honest mistake of judgment. How can we decide on sufficiency, on substance, grounded on mere allegations, primarily based on media reports and public documentary? In fact, I refer to the case referred and mentioned by Congressman Rufus Rodriguez in the case of petition for writ of habeas corpus of Rodrigo Roa Duterte, still pending before the Supreme Court. And the House, and that is precisely the reason why there is a pending case before the Supreme Court regarding the legality of the arrest. And to render it illegal, at this point and attribute the same to the President is still premature and baseless, Madam Chair. The House will then be placed in a very awkward situation wherein a President is being tried for a supposed illegal arrest when the same is subsequently ruled as legal. So I therefore submit that manifestation, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Madam
Thank you.
Chair, point of order,
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair.
Before we proceed, we've heard a lot of opinions, comments, and even questions from the members with respect to the first offense. So it is the intention of the chair to limit the succeeding members who will be asking on this offense so that we can move to the next offense. Nonetheless, we recognize the Honorable SDML Lawrence Defensor.
Madam Chair, just a point of order on the way we proceed with the deliberations. Let's just address our manifestations as the complaint alleges. We don't have to interrogate the endorser. The Honorable Nisay is not the complainant. Let's just make manifestations and simply state the complaint alleges the following and state our manifestation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
We encourage the committee to follow the suggestion of the Honorable SDML Lawrence Defensor. The Honorable Vice Chair Dumogan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pursuant to the instruction of the Chair, and has already been suggested, let me manifest that on ground one, there's no impeachable offense. We all know that there's no kidnapping. Second, the arrest was by virtue of an arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court because of an offense which had been allegedly committed when the Philippines was still a member of the ICC. And it was coursed through the Interpol. So, and let me point out, with all due respect, looking at all the complaints, there's actually no narration of facts. It just stated and went to the arguments. So, I am forced
Depektibo pala.
to, of course, manifest that the respondent did not commit any betrayal of trust or culpable violation of the Constitution with respect to allegation number 1. I so submit.
Thank you, Vice Chair Dumogan. With that, the chair wishes to move to the second offense.
Second offense.
Please allow the chair to read. Respondent is a drug addict whose condition impairs his judgment and leadership. This is anchored on the ground of culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayal of public trust. At this juncture, we elicit the manifestations, preferably manifestations, of the committee members with respect to its sufficiency in substance.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Lagbas is recognized.
with respect to allegation number 2, although the complaint claims the respondent is unfit to serve as president due to drug addiction, it fails to allege the ultimate facts showing how this alleged personal condition translated into any impeachable act. It does not narrate when the alleged use occurred, how it was committed, or how it affected any official function. It simply concludes that the respondent is unfit to serve without providing the facts required to demonstrate an impeachable offense. Further, no factual narration of an official decision, directive, or exercise of presidential power impaired by, connected to, or caused by the alleged addiction. That's all, Madam Chair.
Any other member who wishes to make a manifestation on this?
Madam Chair,
Madam
may I be
Chair.
recognized?
The Honorable Barbers, and then De Lima, and then Suntay. One after the other. You are recognized, Honorable Barbers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A manifestation. One of the grounds stated in the impeachment complaint filed by Attorney De Jesus and endorsed by Representative Nisay is the allegation that the respondent is a drug addict whose condition impairs his judgment and leadership. The complainant asserted that the respondent is unfit to serve as president. due to drug addiction. He further alleged in his
Asawa
complaint
ata ito
that
ni
the
Barbers.
respondent's refusal
Ni Ace
to submit
Barbers.
to drug test conclusively demonstrate his disregard for transparency and accountability, and concluded that the respondent's silence and evasion confirmed the public suspicion and betrayed the trust of the nation he swore to serve. Madam Chair, let me point out that this assertion in the complaint was based solely on the alleged statements of the sister of the respondent, Senator Amy Marcos. The complainant attached copies of news articles containing reports on such statements of Senator Amy Marcos and forms part of the complaint. Under the rules of procedure and for in impeachment proceedings, the requirement of sufficiency in substance is met if there is a recital of facts constituting the offense charge and determinative of the jurisdiction of the committee. There is no evidence or authenticated records submitted by the complainant that will support his allegation that the respondent is actually using illegal drugs. The complainant did not even mention that he has personal knowledge of the drug addiction of the respondent. Such allegation of illegal drug use by respondent, which was reportedly stated by another person and not the one who filed the complaint, is mere hearsay and lack probative value. On the other assertions by complainant that the respondent is unfit to serve as president due to drug addiction and that his refusal to submit to drug test are all speculative and without any factual basis. I humbly submit, Madam Chair, that the ground for impeachment of the respondent on his alleged drug addiction that impairs his judgment and leadership is insufficient in substance. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The manifestation of the Honorable Barbers is noted by
Ganda
the
ng
committee.
asawa ni Ace
The Honorable
Barbers.
De Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Si
This is actually supplementary or complementary to the
Elena.
manifestation made or the opinion made by the Honorable Representative Barbers. The ultimate general ground, betrayal of public trust. The specific allegation is alleged drug addiction of the president. And again, I would point out to certain sub-allegations and refute their insufficiency. Allegation number one, sub-allegation number one, there are serious accusations that PBBM is a drug addict. The offense alluded for this ground is drug addiction. Stating that there are accusations do not constitute factual allegations of the addiction. This ground presupposes that because PBBM is an addict or an alleged addict, he is unfit to be president. However, unfitness per se is not a ground for impeachment. And even when considered as constituting basis for betrayal of public trust, the statements in this ground do not sufficiently establish allegations on how specific presidential acts were impaired by PBBM's addiction, assuming the addiction to be true. Second sub-allegation, Senator Amy, the sister, admitted or alleged or announced that PBBM is a drug addict. Again, this is not a factual allegation, but a conclusion that because Senator Amy admitted or announced that PBBM is an addict, then he must be an addict. The most that can be made out of this ground is that there was betrayal of the public trust because of PBBM's failure to disclose his addiction. However, the recital of allegations to this ground is still insufficient in terms of showing the nexus. Kasi yun po importante. The nexus between the facts raised or alleged and betrayal of public trust. Public accusations of PBBM's addiction, Senator Imey's claim of PBBM's addiction, PBBM's refusal to submit to a drug test, and his silence on accusations of being an addict still do not constitute the factual allegations necessary to satisfy the legal exercise in the formulation of causes of action that, assuming that they were all true, they establish betrayal of trust. Another sub-allegations is the PBBM is a drug addict because he refuses to submit to a drug test. Again, this is a conclusion and not a factual allegation. Nasabi ko na rin po, that kind of an allegation is still insufficient. The fact that he refuses to submit to a drug test. Another is by being silent. Sabi sa complaint. By being silent on his drug addiction, PBBM betrayed the public trust. For me, Madam Chair, this is a non sequitur conclusion and not a factual allegation. Because the ground must not only state a categorical allegation that PBBM is a drug addict and that this impairs the performance of his mandate, but must also include a recital of the alleged acts, events, and incidents that support the same. How do they say, or how do they know, or why do they claim that it impairs his judgment? So that's again my view. Again, this second ground is insufficient in substance. I so submit. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Manifestation is noted by the committee. The Honorable Suntay.
Okay, ang galing na. Ang galing ni Senator Ani, former Senator and now Congresswoman Laila De Lima. So, with that, siguro, as we told you yesterday, they are just going through the motion as far as dito sa complaint filed by Attorney De Jesus is concerned, at saka yung complaint endorsed by Congressman Nisay. Karamihan dito sa mga kongresista na miyembro ng Committee on Justice who are now having a hearing on this matter, on the sufficiency and substance, ay sinabi na wala talagang substance. So they are just going through the motion. Pinapakita lang nila na dumaan sa tamang deliberasyon. Later on, papatayin lang nila yan by saying na wala talagang may form pero walang substance. Kahapon sinabi nila may form. Today, boboto sila later on to say na walang sustansya, walang substance. So patay na yung first impeachment. Ang question na lang, ano mangyari sa second impeachment ng Makabayan Black? Later on, pagpunta na natin yan, we will bring that matter to you. Pero as far as this complaint filed by Attorney De Jesus and endorsed by contractor na ngayon kinakasuhan rin sa mga katiwalian niya sa flood control, itong si Congressman Nisay, I believe, as we said yesterday, pinaglalaruan lang sila ng committee and then eventually papatayin rin ito for lack of substance. Kahit by form, pero walang substance, talo pa rin. Okay? So sige, may meeting pa ako sa contractor ng building ko, si Jory Enriquez, at sa pharmacy business ko at saka medical distribution business. So may lunch meeting kami. So hanggang dito na muna tayo. Thank you very much everyone for watching, and thank you very much for joining me in this vlog, and see you in my next vlog.